Alright, so we're going to get into this image here and make it a little bit more interesting through the use of layer masks and filters. So what I'm going to do, actually, I need this to be on its own layer. So I'm simply going to double click on the background layer. It will get this dialog, and I'll just simply hit OK. There, it'll make it a regular layer. Then I'm going to create a new layer. And this is going to be our base background layer, and I'm just going to fill it with a kind of a tannish color here. I'm just going to Option Delete. That will select it as our foreground color. Press Option Delete, fill it in. Then I'm going to drag that layer beneath that original background layer. So the surfer image is on top. That tan color is just beneath it. Now, on that surfer image, I'm going to go ahead and select it and create a layer mask by clicking the layer mask icon right here, just like that. And then I'm going to take my rectangular selection tool and just draw a selection almost to the point where it gets to the right where the edge of where the surfer is, right about like that. Now, with that active selection and inside of my layer mask, make sure that I'm active on the layer mask, not the image itself, but the layer mask. You can tell by those little lines right there. I'm going to go under Filter, down to Render, to Fibers. And we will get this window here, and normally I just click the Randomize button until I get some settings I like. You can go ahead and play with these settings here. They give you all kinds of different results. But in the end, ultimately, I like to click Randomize because I'm going to be editing this after the fact anyway. So just go through there, and that one looks like it might be okay. So simply hit OK. And because it's applying it to the layer mask, it's already beginning to show through the underlying layer because it's masking out portions already. But we're not done yet. I'm going to deselect, press Command or Control D, and I'm going to go over here, and still on that layer mask, I'm going to select my gradient tool. And I'm going to change my color so that my foreground is white. So I'm painting from white to transparent because I want to be basically removing the black areas of this mask because we have this harsh edge right over here that's going along this side. So holding down the Shift key and starting just a little bit over to the right of that effect there, just going to drag from right to left just a little ways, just so that fades out a little bit, so there's not that hard edge right there. Then, on that active layer mask, simply go under the Filter menu, and now we're going to go to Artistic, to Cutout. And we will get this big window here, which you can see it's already breaking up our image in a pretty cool way, but I can actually change the settings here, change its simplicity depending on the way I want it to cut it out. Do just like that, and we'll hit OK. Well, you can see it's not getting as much variation on that area that I would like it to. So I'm simply going to undo it, and this you may encounter this depending on which variation of the fibers filter you end up running. But on that layer mask, I'm simply going to bring up my levels, press Command or Control L, and we get levels dialog. I'm simply going to push the shadow slider over just quite a bit more, just to darken up the black areas of that layer mask. And if I hit OK and hold down the Option or Alt key and click on that layer mask, there you can see that's what we've done. Simply darken up those darker areas. Well, in fact, after looking at this, we can bring up those levels again and perhaps darken those up quite a bit more. Push those whites in a little bit, and there we have that. So simply Alt or Option click back on the layer mask to get back to the image, and then simply go under Filter again, back to Cutout, and we'll get this big window, and you can see our effect is looking a lot better. So I'm going to leave these settings as they were because it does look pretty good, and simply hit OK, and there we have our effect right there. If I zoom in a little bit, you can see that we are getting some interesting things going on here. Well, it's not quite done yet. I need to apply a shadow to this layer, just so that it looks like it's a little kind of a lifting off that background. It will give it a little bit more interest. So I'm going to double click on that layer icon there. Double clicking it will bring up our layer styles. Get this window here, and I'm simply going to activate a drop shadow, and I'm going to adjust it just slightly, just like that. Drop that opacity down, let's say to about 65. Shorten the distance, well, let's do like 4. And we'll hit OK, and there we go. You can see that now we've got that texture on masking out portions of that area, giving it a little bit more interest. I can simply select this layer and kind of push it over to the side, and there you have it. So it's simply taking a basic image and giving it a few filters, a little bit of layer masking, and the beauty of this is we have completely not altered our original image. If I shift click on the layer mask, our entire image is still there. We haven't deleted anything. So we can, wanted to, if we didn't like how far we've gotten, we can simply throw away the layer mask and not the layer, and return to the original image and start all over again. But if I shift click back on that, you can turn that back on. And of course the beauty is I can edit this further. If I get even a relatively stylized brush here, let's say I get just something strange like that, I can add to the layer mask and give it a little bit more interesting effect, depending on the type of brush I get. So a lot more things you can do after the fact, but using layer masks does give you the freedom to edit the image further and do a lot more interesting things. So there you have it. Give it a try, and we'll see you next time.